Yesterday, I hosted a live masterclass called The Energetic Rebirth, Ending the Cycle of Almost There. There was an energy in the class that was deep, honest, and full of release. It was mostly women in the room, and we talked about why the inner work sometimes stops working, what it means when you outgrow your old energetic container, and how overfunctioning isn't always ambition, it's often survival patterned after trauma. It's a disguise. And so I guided everyone through a full body yes activation and reminded them, um, just like I'll remind you now, that clarity isn't something that you chase, it's a frequency that you calibrate to. And as I was reflecting on the energy that moved through that space, I thought deeply about it because initially going in, I was kind of concerned about the topic like, is it going to resonate? Is it going to make sense for people? And it did. It really did. And it even resonated for me in a way that I didn't expect it to, at just a very deeply personal here and now way. And so last night, a few hours after the masterclass was over, while I was just kind of thinking about where I am in my life and what's going on in my current energetic container. And I pulled an oracle card from one of my favorite decks. It's an oracle card deck that I pull from quite often. It's I'll share with you, the Mother Mary Oracle. There's always something really good and meaningful in there. And I really feel like Mary is communicating to me in this from this deck. And so I wanted to share the card that I pulled last night because I couldn't believe how spot on it was. And so let me find the book for you. Let me pull this out. The card that I pulled is Our Lady of Truth. It's a beautiful card. Beautiful card. But I want to read this to you because I think it is not just for me, not just for the people that dialed into the master class yesterday, and not just for the couple of clients that I met with this week who were having this kind of exact issue going on, but this is for you. This is for you. When you choose to be in your truth, expressing and being you, you are with me. This is from Our Lady of Truth. In those moments, your voice and every action rings true like a bell, sending out waves of sound that cut through that which no longer serves you. Being in your truth empowers that which can assist and support you on your life path. Don't hold back out of fear. Be kind and be true. Let me help you attain both of these spiritual goals now. Remember, being in your truth is how you're closest to me. So, as we're going along on this journey, this spiritual calling, especially those of us who know the calling, know our purpose, sometimes it gets very challenging to live in our truth because in order to live in our truth, that means often we have to peel away layers and pull away from things from before, from who we were before, and that can be challenging. So I'm going to continue reading this oracle because I'm telling you, it was spot on. The world is changing, triggered by the transformations already happening within you as you grow spiritually. The change that is happening is a raising of your energetic frequency. Okay, my class, the energetic rebirth, we were talking all about frequency. I pulled out this card in particular, and right in here, she's talking about what's happening is a raising of your energetic frequency. You may find that you cannot stand some things which once you liked or loved. Can I get an amen? You cannot quite fit into the old life in the same way, and yet the new life is not fully anchored either. It's like you're in the in between. You're in the in between. I'm in the in between. We're in the in between. You need some divine rocket fuel to launch you into the next vibration more fully, to allow yourself to live externally exactly what it is that you have become internally. You're bringing your inner world fully and completely into your outer world, and this is a time when worlds can collide. Old truths must give way to the new truths, and you must accept the change to be able to live in your new truth. I don't mind sharing that on my journey, one of the big shifts has been moving from the corporate world into spiritual entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship, just in general, is very different from being a W 2 employee working for a large organization. There are people and processes and tools and things in place already to support you in your work in that kind of setting. But then as a solopreneur, I am doing everything myself. I'm the talent, I'm the marketing, sales, the legal department, finance, accounting, all of those things. Business development, like all of these things that I once was able to tap into somebody who's an expert in my organization to do those things so I could focus on my own expertise. Those things are gone. And so as I move from what was to what's to be for me, I'm in this in between space of what actually is. And some days it feels really difficult. Some days it feels very isolating. Some days, I think because of where I am in my process, I still have faith. Like I don't lose faith, but I can easily see how someone could lose faith and trust in the process when things start to peel away and you're like, okay, how am I supposed to live fully in this new framework of who I am supposed to be or who I am? So, continuing on with the oracle, this oracle brings you comfort and guidance, encouraging you to honor your truths, especially to be as truthful with yourself as you can possibly be. Sometimes we may hide the truth of what we feel, even from others, because we're scared of what may come as a result of being honest. We might fear losing a relationship or a job. We might fear that another will be hurt or think badly of us. Perhaps we may want to control how others perceive us instead of being honest and running the risk of being criticized or subjected to disapproval. I see that a lot in my work, especially with some of my clients who don't necessarily want to share where they are in their process if they don't feel like they've made enough progress. But I also feel that in myself as a healer as well. You know, I'm a healer, I'm a spiritual coach. I tell people, pray and meditate, everything's going to be all right, have faith, and all of those things. And as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's hard for even me. And so if I am not honest with people about where I am in my process, if I'm not honest about my bad days, my worries, my stresses, whether I would classify them as worries and stresses or just these um, remnants from the old, these tests, like there are these things that are happening for sure in my life right now that are triggers that are like digging at things that really used to get me before. Finances, that's one of them, right? I have since I was 16 years old been getting a steady paycheck, right? Every other week getting paid by the man. And now for the past year and a half, it's been all me. And so, respect to the entrepreneurs out there who've been in this game doing the entrepreneur thing for their whole career. Kudos to you. This is no easy task. And I would be doing myself and my clients and anyone else that's in my circle a disservice if I didn't share the truth about what I'm going through. If I made it seem like it was all rainbows, butterflies, and roses all the time, that would not be fair to anyone else who's coming up and thinking about making this decision to step into their spirit and their soul path. It's not easy. And I don't think that I know for sure I would not have been chosen for this path if it was an easy path. This is a path that is worth doing because I know how it makes me feel in my spirit, because I know that I've been put on this earth to do it. And so I am ready to do what I have to do in order to fulfill that vision. And part of it, as I said earlier, is being honest about the ups and downs, because it is not an easy thing to have blind faith that everything is going to be all right and that everything is going to work out as it should. All right, now back to the oracle. When Our Lady of Truth appears, we're asked to run the risk of loss and to open up, be as real and truthful with ourselves as we can be, and not be fearful of letting someone or something go. Sometimes it isn't a matter of a situation or a person being bad, but simply that they might not be good for us or us for them. Sometimes we can be surprised by how truth turns an impossible situation around and actually brings us healing and closeness, where perhaps we once feared it would destroy a relationship. Truth can often bring it to life. I mean, who out there right now is worried about losing something if you tell the truth? If you're true to who you are, if you're true to why you're here, like what you really feel, who out there is afraid that you might lose things, status, material things, relationships, friends, what was? Look, I'm with you. I feel like maybe, if I continue on this journey, I'm going to have to rethink how I'm living, right? And that's okay. That's okay. That's part of the process. Do I need a 5-bedroom house for 2 people when one of those people isn't even here all the time? It's just one person and 3 cats. We don't need a 5-bedroom house necessarily, unless, of course, we're going to use it for the greater good. And what is the greater good? Potentially using it as a healing house. But as part of this journey, this process of connecting more firmly with your truth, we have to learn to detach from certain things, and not just things, but outcomes. What if the outcome is not what I expected, but it's 25 times better than I could have even imagined? That's one of those things that I think I personally have learned and am working with in this process, that just knowing that I don't have control and I don't need to have control over all the things and all the outcomes, because there is a bigger plan at play, and I'm just doing my part to bring love and light to mankind. So I'm just doing my thing on my end, and I'm letting God do God's work. All right, back to the oracle. This oracle brings numerous messages. Your frequency is rising, and with this, you will find that changes happen in your physical world. Now, I recall maybe 2 years ago now, when my frequency was changing. Now, this is something that happens periodically along the journey. Your energy, your frequency rises. Our goal is to get to this high vibrating state. A couple years ago, I remember when I was going through a major shift, I would get on the phone and all of a sudden it would be like, and the person couldn't hear me. There was nothing wrong with my phone, but my frequency in my person was not in sync with the cell phone. So the phone call would just go, that's very real, very real. So embrace those changes and those shifts as they come and stay on the course. For these changes are natural and helpful for all involved, even if there's pain for a while as you let go or face the unknown. Ascension symptoms. I don't know, maybe you've heard of that, maybe you haven't, but oftentimes when we're on this journey, we're ascending, our frequency is rising, we end up getting sick, because our body is adjusting and things are shifting and changing. But that's normal, it's part of it. Our Lady of Truth is always with you and will protect you through all changes as you honor your true nature. There's there's also a message here that although you may seem to be surprising people with unusual behavior at times, and they may say that you aren't acting like yourself, this is not something to worry about. Perhaps what they really mean is that you aren't acting like the person they thought you were. This is not a bad thing at all, is it? No, not at all. You're allowed to act as the person you truly are and are just starting to become because you are growing. You're growing. You're changing. There's so many memes out there that show the caterpillar looking at the butterfly and the butterfly saying to the caterpillar, "We're supposed to change." We are. It's part of it. And the change might be shocking to people who are used to us being in the operating in the same way. Uh, I personally used to be very, very, very quiet, very shy. Wouldn't really talk to people. I was the type of person that if I saw you in the grocery store, I might turn the other way because I was like, they probably don't remember me and I don't want to. But now I'll be like, oh, I love your earrings. You look so good. Like I'm talking to people more. That is the new me. But there's also the me that was always in there that just had not popped out yet. So as you go through this change in your frequency, this change in your vibration, just know that the people around you might not be fully ready for that. But just because they're not ready doesn't mean that you should continue on that path. Just because they're not ready doesn't mean that you need to adjust and be like the old you to make them comfortable. It's not about their comfort. It's not about their comfort. It's about your becoming. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I feel like, did I read that part already? Mm-hmm. Yes. So you're allowed to act as the person you truly are and are just starting to become because you're growing. Your truth will require that you change, sometimes deeply and radically, sometimes quite simply and subtly. It doesn't always have to be a big bang, depending on what is happening within you. Trust it. So finally, if you have been subjected to gossip, lies, attack, deceptions, or are in a situation where you know there are dark dealings or activities which are causing suffering to others, pray to Our Lady of Truth, Mother Mary, who loves you unconditionally for protection for yourself. Now, if you're not into praying to Mother Mary, that's fine. Pray to Father God, but ideally you would pray to the divine feminine aspect of God. Our Lady of Truth, Mother Mary, loves you unconditionally for protection for yourself. Pray for her presence to bring the light of truth to that situation that you're in for the greatest good. Do not imagine that you have to become a vigilante for her justice, as she has many methods and resources available to her. But do listen to your heart and your truth and act accordingly. Even your mere presence, even your mere presence. Y'all, I'm still reading and trying thinking at the same time. Even your mere presence is such a place with a heart drenched in prayer will help her healing take place. But also honor any guidance you have to withdraw from such a situation when the time is right. Now, just to recap, this part is talking about if people are talking about you, basically, if there's something going on and you feel the attack, reach out to Mother Mary, reach out to the Divine Feminine, call in that unconditional love and protection that is always um, supporting love and truth, and let those those forces deal with it for you. Okay. Now, if you find it difficult to access your truths sometimes, perhaps because they're not mirrored or validated, especially when you were a child, do not concern yourself. For this oracle brings a message that a healing is taking place within you so that your access to your own truth can open up for you. You're encouraged to complete the following healing process on a regular basis from 2 or 3 times a week, or even every day for the next 3 weeks to support this process. Mm. I haven't read this part yet, so let's see what it's all about. Okay. You're also given the suggestion to take some time to write what you're feeling in a journal. This will help you tap into your feelings and truths on a more regular basis. The mother tells you that your truths are worth the time and effort to know. So now is the time to really dig deep to figure out these meanings, the underlying root of why you're in this place, why you're having these feelings. So here is the healing process and affirmation that's recommended in this oracle for Our Lady of Truth. It says, before you there is a large white bell created from pure light. A woman in a white robe with a crown of white roses steps forward to strike the bell with one clean, strong stroke. Pure, powerful sound rings out, echoing through you. Intend to receive that sound for a few moments and know that it is helping support you as you elevate your frequency. You don't have to understand how it happens. Through her power, it just happens. The woman closes her eyes and places her hands in prayer for a moment. She then opens her eyes and gazes directly at you. You can hide nothing from her, and you realize that she loves and supports you completely. When you're ready to close your healing process, you can say the following affirmative prayer 3 times. Mother Mary, Our Lady of Truth, let your light of truth shine within my heart. May I know and live my own truths with kindness, compassion, and courage. May each one of us be supported in doing so, that we may live and let live without fear. May the light of your perfect justice shine bright for the greatest good. So be it. So be it. Well, thank you for joining me for this quick chat. For those of you who don't know, I'm Dr. Makiba, Dr. Makiba for Love. My goal is to spread love, spread light, spread truth. And if you feel called to reach out to me, schedule a strategy session and we can chat. Whatever's on your mind, let's talk. I'm here to serve. Love and light. Bye bye.